Hello and welcome to another episode of Raman Rewinds. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about a cricketer who made his debut for India when I was just 4 years old. And then, when I made my debut for India at the age of 23, I played alongside him. So you can imagine the lifespan of that particular cricketer in the Indian cricketing scenario. It is no mean feat at all to be a part of the Indian team for such a long time. Of course, the career was not really smooth, it was not without its issues, but it was a story of a lot of setbacks and also comebacks. And comebacks time and again, and each and every time he made a comeback, he made with a telling impact. By that I mean, whenever he came back into the side, he performed brilliantly for India. I'm sure that you would have guessed who that person is, who that cricketer is none other than Mohinder Amarnath, who was affectionately called as Jimmy Amarnath by the people in the cricketing fraternity and his friends. Jimmy Amarnath is the son of Lala Amarnath, another charismatic all-rounder of his times. He was also considered as controversial for the simple reason he would speak his mind, and he wouldn't be really averse to saying what it is he felt and walk out if the situation demanded it or if the people did not really carry out what the right thing that he suggested was to be followed. Be that as it may, and Jimmy Amarnath, you would remember, was obviously instrumental in playing lead roles whenever India won the biggies. I'm referring to the 1983 World Cup and also the WCC in 1985 in Australia. Of course, Jimmy Amarnath started off his career more as a fast bowler who could bat a bit for India, and gradually he gravitated more towards batting. He became a top order batter, and the thing was that he never let go of his bowling. Yes, he did not bowl on a regular basis, but still he was one who always made sure that his bowling was something that was going to really help him in his rainy days. We saw him do extraordinarily well in both the triumphs as an all-rounder for Team India. Jimmy Amarnath was obviously dropped on quite a few occasions, and he would obviously work his way back into the Indian side, and then he would go on to re-establish his credentials in international cricket before he again went through that cycle of losing his form or perhaps really pissing off somebody who mattered, before he would get dropped. And again, the same old thing of making runs, coming back into the side, again getting runs in international cricket, again losing his place, and again this cycle carried on for a long, long time. But the fact of the matter is that he was a competitive man and he was fiercely competitive. There's no two ways about it. But he was a very soft-spoken man as well. But he was very in what it is that he wanted to do, in where he wanted to go, and he would not tolerate any nonsense. And that's the kind of person Jimmy Amarnath is. But whenever an youngster went to him for any help or if he wanted to have a chat with him as to how to improve his cricket, Jimmy Amarnath was always there. He would never ever say no whenever an youngster approached him. I remember when I first got into the Indian side, he was one of the cricketers who obviously thought I needed to be told a couple of things on how to approach international cricket because he realized that I was thrust at the top of the order in international cricket when I was generally batting lower down for my own state. But again, that goes to show how good a reader he is of the game. He not only realizes what it is that he needed to do well, but he also was very much aware of the strengths and weaknesses of other cricketers and also give a word of advice at the right time, which is always very beneficial. Who will ever forget the manner in which he batted in those two series, one in Pakistan and one in West Indies? I think those 1,000 runs are really worth its weight in gold because it was a case of Imran Khan, Sarfraz Nawaz really uh, running through the Indian batting lineup like a hot knife would run through butter. And that was the time the entire cricketing world was really stunned because the manner in which these two great fast bowlers made the ball reverse. It was very difficult for the batters to pick, but there was Jimmy Amarnath. It was almost like he knew beforehand what the bowlers were going to bowl at him and how the ball was going to behave because he got in excess of 500 runs in Pakistan. And then they went on to a tour of West Indies immediately after that. And on the tour of Pakistan, uh, the great G.R. Vishnath was really not in the best of form, and that was the last series he played. So when India went to West Indies, Jimmy Amarnath had to shoulder that extra responsibility because one of the most experienced cricketers of Indian cricket, G.R. Vishnath, and almost the backbone of the Indian middle order until the time he was a part of the side, was not going to be there on the tour of West Indies. And West Indies had absolutely brilliant fast bowlers in their ranks. Andy Roberts, Michael Holding, Wayne Daniel. And it was a case of West Indies really dominating international cricket those days with their supply line of fast bowlers. Jimmy Amarnath on the tour was injured on a few occasions, and there are stories of how severely he was injured at times, and that the blood was seen all over the crease when he was taken off the field immediately after sustaining injuries. But still, that did not deter Jimmy Amarnath from walking back to the pavilion, then washing the shirt, and then wearing the same shirt back when he was treated by the doctors. He would walk out back onto the field wearing the same shirt, and the fast bowlers would bounce at him, and he would happily hook it for boundaries. And that was a kind of a series where not only did it test Jimmy Amarnath with a lot of bounces, and not only that the fast bowlers were quick, they realized he was obviously the linchpin around which the Indian batting was trying to rally, and hence they focused a lot on getting him out or really even intimidate him. But Jimmy Amarnath was made of real strong steel, and he got another 500 runs in that series, which made everybody wonder what a great batter this man was. And what they could not also obviously understand the highs and lows that Jimmy Amarnath had gone in his career until then. But again, uh, the trend continued when they came back to India. Jimmy Amarnath once again went through a low as far as form is concerned, and obviously again the cycle started, and he again worked his way back and made it to the Indian team and scored a lot of runs. But suffice to say that Jimmy Amarnath was the phoenix, and he also epitomized the saying which is attributed to Confucius: "The glory is not in falling, but in rising every time you fall." I think that particular line, that particular proverb or saying, epitomizes Jimmy Amarnath. And Jimmy Amarnath will go down as one of the legends of Indian cricket. And I feel privileged to have shared the dressing room with him, and to have been a part of the 11 that featured Jimmy Amarnath in the same team list as I. So thank you, Jimmy Amarnath, for all the motivation you provided whenever you chatted to me, and also for all those gutsy knocks that you played against the mightiest of fast bowlers. May God bless you with all the happiness and good health for many, many years to come. That's it from me, folks, on this episode about Jimmy Amarnath. I'm sure that you also would agree with most of the things that I said about Jimmy Amarnath. Um, the guts, the determination, and the willingness to carry on fighting way into the late 30s and taking on the mightiest of fast bowlers is something that you'd have enjoyed watching. And until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.